The storms were intense. It would be the perfect setting for a horror story. The wind was howling and the rain was beating against the window pane. John was sitting at his desk and typing on his laptop, trying to finish his book. Suddenly, the power went out, and he was left in the dark. For a moment, he sat there, looking around the room, completely disoriented. Then he heard a sound. It was a faint scratching noise, coming from the direction of the door. John stood up and walked over to the door. As he reached out to open it, he realized that he was shaking. He took a deep breath and pulled the door open. There was nothing there, just darkness. He shrugged, closed the door and turned around. That's when he saw it. It was a figure, hovering in mid-air, with no discernible features. John stood frozen, his heart pounding in his chest. As the figure drew closer, he could see that it had tentacles for arms, and there seemed to be a dark hole where its face should have been. John tried to back away, but he couldn't move. The figure got closer and closer until it was mere inches away from him. Then it let out a sudden ear-shattering shriek, causing John to scream and fall to the ground. When he opened his eyes, he was in a dark room, his head throbbing with pain. He could hear the sound of footsteps echoing in the distance. Slowly he got to his feet and stumbled towards the source of the noise. As he turned a corner, he stumbled upon a blood-soaked room with carcasses of human bodies scattered in the corners. He instantly recognized some of the faces. They were his neighbors, the people he had seen walking their dogs or watering plants in the evening. Suddenly, John saw a shadow move from the other part of the room, making his blood cold. He drew near, and to his utter surprise, saw a red-eyed creature feasting on a human heart. The creature looked like a mix of bear and human, but covered in fur. The stench of corpses filled the air. John watched for a few seconds, trying to make sense of what was happening. He was frozen in horror, unsure what to do. Then the creature turned towards him, and with a snarl, it lunged at him. John spun around, barely managing to dodge the attack. He ran as fast as his legs could carry him, trying to find a way out of the horrifying place. But wherever he went, the creature seemed to be right behind him. Its snarls grew louder and louder, making his blood run cold. John finally stumbled upon a door, and with trembling hands he tried to push it open. Luckily it was unlocked, and he burst out into the pouring rain and howling wind. He didn't stop running until he reached his home, his heart racing with fear. For months afterward, John couldn't shake the feeling of terror that had settled in him. He could still hear the creature's snarls and screams in his head, and he knew that he would never be able to forget the horrors he had witnessed that stormy night. From that day on, John never stayed up late writing again, for fear of what might come out of the darkness.